Hello, brilliant minds of the business world. Welcome back to another knowledge-filled episode of X-Raised, where knowledge meets inspiration in the intricate dance of industry evolution. This is your go-to platform and podcast where ideas get elevated, leaders get celebrated, and innovation gets X-raised. Whether you're tuning in through Spotify, Amazon Music, or catching this video, you better buckle up because today's episode promises to be one for the books. If you've been with us on this journey, you already know our guest today is basically X-Ray's family by now. And for those who's tuning in for the first time, he's a powerhouse in the world of professional development and corporate sustainability. With over 40 years of global industry experience under his belt, he's made it his life's mission to accelerate continuous improvement by investing in what truly matters: people and their capabilities. He leads ACI Global and e-Quip, a pioneering ISO-certified educational training services provider and a founding member of the Global Reporting Initiative, or GRI. They're consistently setting the gold standard in helping organizations achieve excellence, corporate responsibility, and sustainability through skills development. And today, we're zooming in at the heart of their work, the e-Quip Academy, and we'll know how it's opening new doors for professionals and organizations alike. It's my great pleasure, as always, to welcome back the Managing Director and CEO of ACI Global and e-Quip, the one and only Ian Erskine. Hi, Ian. Good morning.
Good morning, Miles. And once again, I love your introduction, and I'm quite humbled by it, in fact. But looking very much to this morning's episode. And yes, so I won't preempt. I'll allow you to start it off.
Yes, thank you so much because I'm really all geared up to talk about something that's close to your mission at ACI Global, the full journey into the eQuip Academy, from that very handshake, or as you call it, the hello process, all the way to the steps that make accessing world-class upskilling smooth and efficient. I can already tell this conversation is going to be packed with valuable takeaways. So could you start this off by walking us through what the eQuip Academy is and why access to it has become such an essential step for professionals and organizations looking to upskill?
Well, the ACI, thanks, Miles. The ACI Global Academy is basically where all the learning, all the assessments, and all the ongoing continuous professional development, accelerating continuous improvement happens. It's a secure platform, and basically this started many years ago when young Miles, my son, and I, we attempted to build one ourselves, a learning management system, but it was very amateurist and not very well presented. So I was introduced to a company, Digital Learning Services, out of New Zealand, and we've been with them ever since. And I guess in some respects I was honoured and privileged to be able to purchase the small DLS company just a little under 2 years ago, and we're updating and further developing the platform as we go. And yes, so that's where all the learning, continuous professional development, accelerating continuous improvement, and also it's also tied into the people's organisations, because the organisations can also use the ACI Global Academy as their platform for all their training, development, and ongoing professional development needs as well.
And through this, of course, I always believe in investing in people and, of course, the systems as well. Treating upskilling is an investment into the DNA of an organization, as I've learned from you. It's like building the world's fastest race car, but making sure you have the best driver behind the wheel first. Of course, it makes total sense. And probably saves a lot of crashes, metaphorically speaking. Well, you can always really feel the difference when it's done right. Now that we have a great picture of the eQuip Academy itself, Ian, let's dive into the enrollment process and experience. You've introduced what you call the hello process. Could you explain how this unique starting point sets the tone for a candidate's journey and why it's so important to ACI Global's approach?
Well, it is also important, particularly in this day and age of artificial intelligence, the increasing erosion of our security of our personal information, and even the erosion of our personal ideals in some respects. So the Academy is a very secure platform. So basically, the Hello or back off process, as we call it, is a very simple process that anyone that enrolls, part of the enrolment process is we must see photo ID of that person linked to a driver's license or a passport before we can finalise the enrolment process, because that is oh so important, because that also continues on within the platform. When the candidate meets their facilitator, they very quickly have their first interview session where that's done online with cameras so that each can see each other. And that's a very, very good way of actually getting to know the person. And every assessment throughout their learning journey, when the assessment's finished, they sit down with their facilitator face to face, discuss the outcomes. And again, it's a case of getting to know.
Yeah.
And the point I make here is it's probably more important for the facilitator in the process, because as I say to all my facilitators, it's so important, and so you'll find it so interesting that you will get to learn so much from your candidates because they come from a diverse background, okay, different professionals, different skills, and it's quite amazing. And my facilitators say this to me, that after a lot of their sessions, they come back enthralled and quite often challenged to actually go further with their own professional journey after they've heard and discussed the journey of their candidates.
Well, hello process. First
Yeah.
impressions do matter. Start with a genuine hello, and who knows, it might just lead to a lifelong affair with learning. And
Yes, and as I said, it's hello or back off process, and we're quite clear and defined in that. And that's part of the process. And we also go further, and quite often people will have a look at the cost of our programs, and they'll say, "Oh, yeah, you're very reasonably priced," and things like that. And we always say to everyone and out in the marketplace that we're not the cheapest. You don't get our courses for free, but we're certainly not the most expensive. But the reason, the emphasis we put on it is learning. There has to be a cost for that, because that cost borne by the candidate then makes that oh so important and precious for themselves. When they finish the course, they realise the financial amount that they have put in to purchase that course. That's part of their professional journey, and they will hold that dearer to them. Or the other way is if it's all given free, and that's one of the things that we have in this day and age. Governments are running out there offering free tape, free this, free that, and it becomes almost a meaningless process because it doesn't really mean anything to the person, right? Whereas if the candidate has to save up $500 for a course, pays the course, and then completes the course with flying colours and goes on to their next course, that becomes the financial commitment that they've made, and and we say you can feel proud of yourself. You've made the financial commitment. You've gone through all the effort to pass all the assessments, learn from your facilitator, learn from the briefing notes and the standards, and they come out a better person at the other end of the process of the journey for them to really appreciate it.
Yes, I was going to say they're going to be aware of the real value of the learning process. And once someone completes the hello process, they move through registration and enrollment. And I learned that you even offer a free test drive, Ian, or a demo of the academy. So could you share how these opportunities give candidates and organizations a real taste of what they can expect before truly committing to it?
Yes, it's very much part of what we call the learning assessment process, which the facilitator and we as the learning organisation must understand from the candidate before they start their course. Because quite often with modern day learning, this is not carried out. And basically, on many occasions, a candidate will do a course of which 50 to 60% they already know, but they have to pay for the full course, go through the full course, so it's a duplication of their existing learning. Okay. So this is why their learning assessment part of all our courses is oh so important, which includes the free demo, yes. But the most important thing where we're able to look at the person's industry experience, their capability, their competence. We look at a CV or resume, and then we actually put them through a small exercise where they give us an understanding of what a quality organisation is all about. We talk about primary duty of care, their role in understanding legal requirements, their role in having to perform each of their tasks to the best of their ability as trained by the organisation. Mm-hmm. So this is what we call the learning needs analysis, right? Okay. So every one of our courses at the very start, they have that learning needs analysis where they go through that section, okay? And there are a few people that say, oh, there's just so much there, and quite often they then do it, and then they remark as they're going through their course, they then remark, oh, but you've noted that I've already got that key competency, so then we will actually fast move them through an assessment or RPL them through certain assessments if they've already got that competence, because our supporting mechanisms at the back end of the program where we verify each of their assessments and their competence, we check that off against their claimed RPL. So it's not something that is not validated, it's all validated, right? Okay. But that's where the learning needs analysis comes in very strongly.
Mm-hmm. Well, what a fantastic way to serve a sample slice of a better future. Because when you're investing in your future, you want to make sure it handles the curves and accelerates like a dream. And given how detailed the candidate-centered this process is, Ian, I imagine preparation is key. So what key resources or information should individuals or maybe their organizations have ready when preparing to register? And how does the ACI Global team help them through it seamlessly?
Well, that's an interesting one because, as you know, we have where they log in and go onto the website, and they see where they fill out the registration form. They now have the ability, if they don't fully understand anything on the registration form, all they have to do is ring up and they will speak to a real person, not a chatbot. They will speak to a real person, whether that's in Australia, UK, United States. We've got all the times covered. Now that's very important, but also it's also a very interesting process because often they will give me a call and say, look, I'd like to do this course. I'm not sure I know a lot about quality, and I'll then ask them a question. Okay, just give us a bit of an overview of your background, and I'll give an example of one person, nameless. But this person came to us and he had worked in pubs, right? And he said, look, I've never had a quality role. I've just pulled beers. I've served behind the bar, served tables, served food, but I'd like now to better myself. And I said, okay, just give me an example of what you would do when you first got to the pub before you pulled the beer and everything like that. And he'd go through, or they'd go through, oh, we check the temp right, we check to make sure the temperature's right, we check to make sure the glasses are clean, everything's cleared down on the tables and everything like that. And I just simply say, well, that's quality assurance. And they stop and their remark is, well, I've never really thought about it that way. And we say to them, that is the hallmark of understanding quality assurance.
Yeah.
And again, that's the hallmark of what we're about. We recognise that as something that they don't necessarily have to redo through the course because they've demonstrated an basic understanding of quality assurance, and we can move them through faster. And in some respects, you can actually give them a rebate on their next course because they have been able to demonstrate so much RPL within a course. At the end of it, we can give them a rebate on their next course.
Yeah. Well, it seems it's all worth it, Ian. Plus, there's a rebate, as you said. Preparation meets opportunity, and streamlining the preparation like this is a game changer, especially with a real person guiding the learners wherever they are in the world. That's really a big deal because usually when you need something or when you're confused about a product or service and you chat them, you could only talk to a bot. So it's very unusual these days that you get to talk and deal with the real human people. And
Yeah.
having the right documents and mindset ready must feel a bit like packing for a big adventure.
Let me just add there a little bit there too,
Sure.
because it's very important that the candidate and also their organisation or their sponsoring organisation, as we call it, they both understand that there's a certain amount of information we need so that we can carry out the learning and assessment and their professional development the right way. Now, obviously, as I said, we need to see a CV. We also need to see their different industry experiences. And above all, what we like them to demonstrate to us is they need to demonstrate to us what they were able to bring or achieve with their past organisation.
Okay.
Because quite often I see CVs and resumes that are automatically generated and things like that, but they turn out to be a meaningless piece of paper. What a CV has to demonstrate to an organisation is what you can bring to that organisation to add value. That's the most important thing. So when they come into the LMS, we like them to provide us the CV. We discuss with them a basic understanding of their strengths, their weaknesses, their opportunities, and their threats to their own personal career and their own personal living. And we also like that from the organisation, because we like the organisation to be able to provide us what their objectives and their targets and their goals are, what their mission and their vision is, right? Because if the candidate doesn't understand that and the organisation doesn't understand the new candidate or the new employee's mission and their vision, their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, there's always going to be a disconnect. So we bring that together even before they start the course, okay? And the other important point to mention here, again, this is because we need to ensure the LMS is secure in every way, because the organisation is sharing their information into the portal, the candidate is sharing their information into the portal, hence face up or back off, we need to have that information, need to ensure that they understand the security protocols that we have in place, right? And look, it's a secondary thing, but that is one of the reasons why we've been able to achieve our ISO certification, because we've been able to demonstrate that it's just not a platform where every Tom, Dick and Harry can enter and have a play around and do what they like. No, there's strict protocols. It's all to do with the professional development of people, which ultimately determines the organisation gaining traction and achieving sustained success.
Yeah. Making sure that the people are not just employees, they're great ambassadors to the organizations that they're serving. So finally, Ian, as more businesses and individuals engage with the e-Quip Academy, what lasting benefits do you see for organizations that prioritize continuous learning and skills development through ACI Global structured and ISO certified pathways?
Well, I think this is where we will continue to develop. But one of our keys is that we bring the organisation and the candidate together in the portal. And as you know, one of our last interviews, we talked about the ISO verification and testing process. We're just about to start to trial that in real live situations, and it's a little cafe that we're actually going to do little video assessments on the baristas when they're doing their preparing their coffees and so forth. And that's one of the things that we're going to be able to demonstrate to all and sundry is within the portal, you have a secure platform where we can continue to assess strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and improvements for the candidate as well as the organisation. Again, which demonstrates and gives them the ability of sustained success. And I guess you can liken that back to what we were talking about at our last episode with the willful destruction of Mount Kosciuszko. The question I ask now is the person or the people that were driving those bulldozers, pushing over those 300, 400, 500-year-old trees, wouldn't you have thought that they would have stopped for a minute and say, I don't think this is right? And that's the question. It's not right. That's where, and you've heard me talk about this many times about primary duty of care. And again, that's linked to the chain of responsibility. So you would have thought the bulldozer driver would have said, no, that's not right. He should have brought that to the attention of his supervisor. His supervisor should have brought that to his attention to the senior managers. And the owners of the companies would have then been asked that question. And then you would have thought the company would have then gone to the environmental department, which is run by the Australian government, I might add, right? Gone to them and say, this breaches your environmental controls. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, why are they allowing it?
That's right, I'm saying. And again, part of our platform gives the power to the candidate and the organisation to be able to stand up for what is right. And again, this is when we talk about environmental sustainability. The true sustainability is people.
Yes.
Because if people don't have the confidence and the power to stand up, this is where the willful destruction happens. And part of the strength of our platform and our learning, and it comes very much from my heart and my passion in reference to country, right? This is what we actually implore them to actually stand up and say, no, that's not right. I can't do that. Okay?
Yeah. Well, this clearly reflects your visionary leadership, Ian. And I love a culture where growth is not a one and done, but something that's baked right into everyday sustainable operations, swapping a survival mindset to thriving mindset. And who wouldn't want to thrive, right?
Yes.
And since you mentioned earlier, we previously talked about Earth Day. It's like planting trees you might not see it under yourself, but they'll shade generations to come.
Well, that's right. And like I said, and, too often people knock and just criticise. Well, I've just done more than just criticise. I'm standing up for it. But I'm also saying it's quite simple to fix. You just actually replant it with the native trees. And the company that did this, they will have to be given a 15-year contract where they have to perform. So first of all, they have to clean up the mess, then they have to replant, and then they have to ensure that those trees survive, right? Because there's predators, rabbits and things like that, which you've got to keep away from the fledgling trees, right? But they should be given 15-year contract to put it all back in place, and then everything will be fine.
Yeah. What a journey, Ian. Today, we've seen how ACI Global's e-Quip Academy doesn't just offer courses, it offers a structured pathway to real, sustainable, professional, and organization growth. From the hello process that warmly welcomes candidates, to the opportunity for a free test drive, to the meticulous support in every step that's engineered for excellence. Thank you so much once again, Ian, for being so generous with your knowledge and time. It's always inspiring to hear from someone who doesn't just talk about change, but actually drives it forward one candidate at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Miles.
All right, for everyone tuning in, if you're ready to explore how the e-Quip Academy can help you or your organization accelerate continuous improvement and reach new heights, head over to aciglobal.com.au. There, you'll find everything you need from enrollment details to that free test drive Ian mentioned earlier. Thank you so much for keeping X-Rays alive and thriving. We'll be back with more thought-provoking conversations and more remarkable leaders like Ian. Until our next one, this has been your host, Miles. Stay focused and inspired with X-Rays.